Welcome to Great Talking Entertainment. I'm your host, KJ, and this is the YouTube channel where I review movies and TV shows from all your favorite superheroes, including Marvel Comics, DC Comics, and much more. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Great Talking Entertainment official channel. Now let's go, baby. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, everyone. My name is KJ, and I am the host, and today is my spoiler review for the new movie on Netflix called The Pit, starring Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. If you have not seen this, please pause this. Before you go, hit the thumbs up button. I truly would appreciate that. That's the like button. That would help my YouTube channel grow, so I thank you guys in advance. And if you're still not sure, check out my non-spoiler review for Netflix's new film, The Pit, so I can convince you to check this out. This is an action-packed film, so you don't want to miss it. So again, this is my spoiler review. Y'all been warned. Now, let's get into it. This film starts off with Lieutenant Dane Dumas, who's played by Matt Damon, talking to his boss about his alibi. A female cop named Jackie, who was like in a relationship with another person, which is J.D. Bryan, who's played by Ben Affleck. She was murdered, and they feel like this is an inside hit, as many of the detectives and officers in different departments are being questioning, as it seems like someone is trying to cover this up and take some money out of this. And Detective Dan from TNT department wants to run this case, but no, they can't do it due to the budgeting, and they ain't trying to pay overtime in this. And this is where we get to the scene. J.D. Bryan is being questioned by his own brother, and it's revealed that for the fact that Detective Dan got the promotion that JD should have got, and maybe that would have been his motive to do that to Jackie, but he denies and says not in. They get a huge brawl about this, and of course, nobody in the office wants to do this. So we see two different sides of these two characters too. We see Dan, who is in the office working and finding what's going on and trying to find clues to the idea where to start. And he gets a text message of a safe house, and it's a raid, and it said how much amount, while JD does not believe in just being alone. He doesn't believe in myths like that, as he's hanging out with his co-workers, this fellow in the fellow police department, and and they're talking about trying to get paid better, and that's why a lot of cops become corrupted in Miami, Florida. And we see like this guy in the DEA, his name is Nix, and he looks corrupted, but you could tell we don't know who's innocent, who's not. And so there's a whole lot of things. So we're seeing Detective Dan he's paying attention, because it's somebody within the inside is leaking out information and getting away with stuff. So there's some, again, dirty cops. This is a dirty cop movie, right? And it gets intense. The drama's there, and you can tell it's going to be a huge shootout, because Detective Dan and the others get a call, get a tip, and they're gonna go check this house. And this is where we see the other characters in this film right along, and they're doing this, and they're not getting paid overtime. So this whole thing is about money, right? So if the safe house is where, if the FBI or any type of police raid the house and they find hundreds and hundreds of dollars, maybe millions and millions in there, they have to take that money and count it. But sometimes some cops like to take a little bit to help, pay some bills or live like a king or queen, as they put in this film. And so they go here, and they all believe this is a drug cartel safe house, right? It's just a regular neighborhood, don't know what. And we meet this character named Desi, and they're like, look, we don't need an official warrant because we have cause that there's something here, and you can do this easy way or the hard way. So she signs this paper, and those cops go in, and they're checking all over the place, and they have, there's a canine dog that can sniff out drugs. They have a dog. He's a cute little dog, and I'm glad, because since this is my spoiler review, I'm glad the dog never got killed in this film. I was worried about the dog the most. But they go in this house, and it's messy looking. You see old phone books. You're seeing trash. But then this dog starts barking and barking and barking. And what we find is in the attic, it's all clean. And this is where it looks like an area where they may pray and do a prayer for the Virgin Mary statues there. And behind that wall is money, buckets of money, about $250K. And this is about $20 million. This is a whole movie about $20 million. I know it's a little bit higher of 20 million, but around about $20 million. And this is where things start heating up, because now all the cops within this, again, Detective Dan doesn't want to call it in yet, because this is a lot of money, and J.D. Bryan's like freaking out. And then the two other girls are freaking out too, and this other guy named Detective Mike too, he's also freaking out as well, because this is a lot of money. And Desi's been claiming that she has no idea. She didn't know this money. She don't know what nobody's talking about. This house is under her grandma's name and stuff. So there's a lot going on in here. But the money's too. We're seeing the temptation of money in this film too. We also find out that one of the detectives named Mike is one of the corrupted cops, as Detective Dan gathered everybody's phone except JD, and Detective Mike had a burner phone, and he's text messaging somebody, which it's revealed that it's Nix, Nix, who is part of the DEA department, and let him know. And at first, it made it look like maybe just because of the way police officer DEA Nix was on the phone with J.D. Bryan think about it. He lost his son due to cancer. His marriage is gone. He has nothing to lose, and it makes sense. But we find out that this whole time that Detective Dan has been lying to everybody, because he's trying to figure out who's the corrupted cop, but he doesn't know it's Mike. And what was really interesting is Desi reveals that they find out on her file that she's a red tape, she's a rat, she's a snitch, right? And she snitched on her boyfriend because he was doing some stuff. And then they get a phone call, and this phone call it's a voice you can't recognize. It's all lower down, right? And they say, you got 30 minutes to get out. Take what you want and get out. And Desi would be rich in this situation too, since she's helping the police. Like, she's the girl, she's the person who's gonna snitch on the criminals to the cops and say, hey, this is happening, and she gets a little percentage of this. So, it is what it is. But she's chained up with the handcuffs, and they're asking her questions, but she's like, you guys better just take the money and get out, because it's about to get ugly. But nobody's leaving, because they're going to count all this money, and everybody's on watch. But it was really interesting. Detective Mike noticed that when he's outside, guarding, right? Because earlier two police officers were like, "Why you didn't call us in?" And JD Bryan and Detective Dan let him know, like, we got this, because they're a higher rank level. They're just regular police officers that you would see in your neighborhood, or just they're the ones who are going to pull you over for a speeding ticket. That's the type of level of cops that were asking questions. But we find out later in this movie that they are working with Nix, and they're trying to steal all this money. And it's getting very intense. And JD is now looking at why all these households are like this. And then we found out the drug cartel has nothing to do with this. They told Detective JD and Detective Dan that, killing a cop is way too expensive. They're abandoning this $20 million thing. Like, it's all, we don't want that. We don't want that problem. We have nothing to do with it. So now they're freaking out, like, who's doing this? What is doing this? And obviously, it's an inside job. That's the whole point. And then this start hitting. Now they only got 10 minutes. And then after that 10 minutes, boom, they're getting shot up. Bang, bang, bang. And it's getting nuts. But after that all's done, and again, the people who were shooting got away, and this is before they found out that the cartel called them, video chat one of their guys to let them know that, hey, we had nothing to do with this. And then we found out that Detective Mike and, again, the DA guy, Nix, planned all this, and they're the one that shot Jackie. And at the end of this film, as Mike and Nick think they got away, and they look in the bag, and it's just phone books. But the three women who driving this like beat up car to a place where the FBI is at, with the actual cash back in the actual red bucket containers. And we get this like happy ending where the cops win, but Nick's try to shoot JD, but before he pulled that trigger, JD got him. Nix, the DEA guy named Nix, got him, shot him, and so JD had to do what he had to do. But we see that it wasn't like fun, it wasn't the right thing to do, and he felt guilty about it. But one was desperate, but then we see Mike, who just gave up. He gave up. But it was more about it was about people who work for the police force in different departments, and they're just not getting paid. And so they take money from the cartels. They take dirty money so they can pay their bills and stuff. And we see throughout this whole film, in this action-packed film, just being tempted by this money. And then it's at the end that JD and Detective Dan and the others are the good cops. And it was really good. It's a simple dirty cop movie. It's a simple plot story, but I liked it just because it's action packed, it's dark and gritty, and you don't know who's who, and you can't trust nobody. And again, Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, and Tiana Taylor and others, they did such a good job doing this film. And again, could this do good in box office if they put this in theaters? Probably. But this is a really good Netflix movie, This is a film, like, it's just your typical action-packed film. And what I liked about this is, again, like, those guys, the whole cast members did a great job portraying these characters. And, of course, this is based on a true events, I should say. I really like how in this film, like, it was really tough at times to figure out who's innocent and who's corrupted, and watch these characters with all that money, get easily tempted. I mean, the two women in there, they brought up good points. Like, who would know? Nobody would know. You know, there were some that were open, right? And they found weapons, and there were some just sealed wrap up. You know, say 250K, and they're just counting it, and like they would never know. The FBI would never know if anybody took it. And this is untapped of money that nobody knows where it came from. You know, it's hard to trace, and it was hidden very well. And it was a neighborhood that was just empty. There was nobody there. So, like, you know, these are houses that were probably loaded, you know, with a lot more money than they showed in this film. But I like that. So I like the part where you didn't know who to trust. You didn't know who's who. And then I also just liked like the idea of like there was JD and Detective Dan. They were both like pushing each other, but they did it on purpose. And like this was their plan the whole time, because they were just trying to fish out like who's corrupted, which they successfully did. And I like the fact that you see through this film that Detective Dan said different numbers on purpose. And then you get flashbacks of like when Detective Mike got the tip of saying it was like 330 something or 300 million or whatever. And then they said a different number, and he wrote down on a piece of paper, and then you find out that he purposely said those things to the two women, like, hey, maybe we should just take this money. And then Desi heard it, and she told Detective Mike, and Detective Mike said it, and then they tried to bargain with them, and it didn't work out. But that was the plan the whole time. Like, it fooled me, and it fooled everybody who was corrupted, and I liked about that. So that was really cool about this movie. It was like the mystery of it, and then the plot twist out of nowhere. I thought that was really good about that. And I also just like too that this whole thing was intense. Like, you didn't know, you're watching it slowly. You know, people were ready to just shoot out, and this was about to get nasty. And I like that they gave a little bit of backstory of each character in this film that needed to be shown. But really good. I mean, honestly, this is a really good thing. Really good, and I liked everything about it. Like, it's a movie you can just watch with your friends and just kick it with. Or it's just a one-time movie to watch and chill with. Like, really good. I recommend watching this. And again, really good plot and a good plot twist with it. So if I had to give this a 1 out of 10, I'm going to definitely give it a 7.5. Really good. Really good. Only thing I can nitpick about it is I wish it was a little bit longer, and I wish they did more locations than that one. And I wish there was a little bit more explosions, a little bit more gun, shooting out type thing. Like, I just wish there was a little bit more of that in this film. But other than that, this was a really good film, and I honestly enjoyed it. Like, Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, they did good in this. Like, this is up their alley, but really good, really good. But that is my spoiler review, y'all. Thank you so much. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Great Talking Entertainment Official channel. Subscribe, hit that notification button so you always be updated with all my latest content. Thank you guys, and peace out.